All right, so this section is gonna be about focusing on how awesome this is gonna be when it works. And what this is your business, which is
Financial brokering.
boom. Okay. So Trinity is a financial broker, and she has been doing it. Well, she's been in the financial services industry for over 8 years, hey?
It's 12 years now.
It's 12 years?
It's 12 years.
It's over 8 years.
You're right.
I had to go over this number because I knew it was like, no, you were in the banks for 8 years.
I was in the banks for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I went into different industries. So I was in bookkeeping. I took a little bit of a hiatus while I had the kids, but then I was back in after the second was only 4 months old.
Okay.
So that's been 12 years. It was since 2012.
And now you're a broker.
Now I'm a broker.
Agent.
So I went independent.
Independent broker.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not attached to any one bank.
Wow. And so what is the so what our goal is right now is to focus our mindset, because in Hebrews 12:2 it talks about wow, I should read it. Hang on one second.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
You've got some great ideas.
You know, I've been known to have them.
I mean, is it you or is it a certain spirit?
It's the Holy Spirit in me.
Your soul. That's what it is.
It's my soul. Now I just need to know where Hebrews is. Okay? Look it up, okay? Hebrews 12:2.
Sometimes I wish they would order them in alphabetical order.
Here it is. I found it. It's right after Philemon, which is the shortest book of the Bible, by the way. Okay, so Hebrews 12:2 says, "Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." So we want to focus on this part right here, who for the joy set before him endured the cross. So it doesn't matter what we're going through in our lives, and we want to focus on what the joy is that's set before us. And when we change our focus to what that joy is, that is when we can have massive breakthrough that will take us to the next level, and we will be able to grow because we're going to focus on the solutions rather than the problems that we have. So that is this section of the night. That's what we're doing right now to make sure that you are focused and I am focused on where we're going. So
yes, proper mindset.
Proper mindset. That is actually, you know, I've watched a lot of business people, and there's two things that they say all the time that I have begun to adapt. It took me a long time, but I've begun to adapt them and implement them. One is mindset is the most important thing, and the other one is commit to failure. In other words, and that's my words, commit to failure, but like focus on something, do something for a longer period of time than you think necessary.
Yes.
And become an expert at it, right? So like oftentimes people try a side hustle and they're like, well, that's just the word right there. Try. They try it. They're like, oh, I got an option to leave. You know?
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's not something that they are gonna rely on, that they're getting into. Whereas the vast majority of people don't say, well, I'm gonna try college and see how it goes.
Right. Yeah. They're like, I paid $150,000 to go to this college for 4 years. I'm gonna do it, or in some cases more, or in some cases less. But you know, that is not a abnormal rate. So it's like, but then when we have like such a low point of entry, we're like, well, let's try it for a little bit. But if you commit to something rather than committing to it for a year, you say, okay, I'm going to do this for the next 10 years. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to do it and implement and learn and grow and become a master. Then in 10 years, you're going to be an expert. Whether you're successful or not, you're going to be an expert, right? And so
the leaders in my industry, honestly, what they say to the people who are wanting to get into doing independent brokering or just jumping into this vehicle as a way to get to the other side of what they're focusing on, honestly, they say give it a year. Give it a year to show you're committed, and then do it for at least 5 years. Once you're committed, 5 years minimum, and you will see success. You may not be at your, like, probably won't be unless you really hustle hard, at your top dream.
Right.
But you're going to be a heck of a lot farther than you ever would have if you were in your regular job.
Yeah, totally. And that's in 5 years.
That's only 5 years.
Yeah. So how long have you been with this? How long have you been an independent broker?
Only a year and a half. So it's really new, but I feel like I've learned more than in my entire finance career prior to that. That's why I say only.
Yeah. Well, and it helps you reframe your brain. It's like a lot of people think, well, if you've done something for a year and a half, it's a long time, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you say, well, it's the same thing you can do in finance. It's like, well, I only make 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
I only make 100 grand a month.
Right?
Only $1 million a month, right? Like, I mean, so when you start to reframe it as a smaller amount, then it's like, oh, it's only this much, And other people will be like, well, you're just bragging. It's like, no, I'm actually reframing it in my mind, right? I'm reframing it and refocusing it in my mind.
Exactly, because when you minimize the amount, you think there's so much more that could be done.
Totally.
Right? Oh, well, I only got second place in my high school sport.
Yeah.
I only got fourth place. Well, that means there are places higher that you could have gone.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to get there?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to get to your first place? What does first place look like for you?
Totally.
Now in a sport, we know what first place is. It's not subjective.
Yeah.
But in life, like for example, your first place looks different than my first place, but it feels the same.
Well, that's because I'm a man, though.
I mean, yes. You got shorter distances, shorter times, or not shorter distances, shorter times over the distance. Yeah.
You can make a Olympic swimming joke right there, but we'll leave that out.
Leave politics out of this. As much as we would agree.
Oh man, that's funny. So, so one of my, just as an aside, and we'll get into some of the things that we're going to focus on actually in a little bit, but this is really good to bring it up. So one of my mentors, he was talking about when he was actually he was selling insurance, and he was like, he had listened to this guy who was multi-millionaire. Like I don't know exactly what his number was, and he was at a conference, and this guy asked for testimonial, and he's like, okay, yeah, like I'm doing real good, right? Like, and he was at the time he was doing 30 grand a month, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing like really good. I've been listening to you for like I think 6 years or something like that. He's like implementing your stuff.
I already see where this is going.
And he's like, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so he gets up there and he's telling the story. He's like, yeah, I'm doing really awesome. I'm like, in his circle, and this is key too, in his circle, he was the top earner, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm doing 30 grand a month. And the coach that was on stage was like, 30 grand a month, hey? It's like, wow, that's incredible. You're almost into the really big money. It's like you're about to have a breakthrough into the really big money. I think that's how he said it. And this guy's like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, first off, you're just dissing my 30 grand a month? And then he's like, wait a second. There's a level where 30 grand a month isn't a whole lot of money?
Is like not even qualifying?
Yeah, he's like, wait a second, what? That's not big money? So he's like, give me more of that, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, okay. So like expanding your mindset,
small
right?
Fish. You need to be, what's that saying? If you're
the biggest fish in the sea, then you're in the wrong sea.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. If you're the smartest person in the room, find a different
that
room.
one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. He is the smartest in this sense, making the most money in his circle, in his room.
Yeah.
He needs to graduate over to a different room where he's the dumbest. Because then he has so much to learn, and he could be making 300 or 3 million a month instead of 30.
Right.
But he's not going to get there if he doesn't go into the bigger room and see what's possible.
He has to change his perspective. And the thing is, you have to be in both rooms. Because you have to be like, there's a room where you have to be the smartest, and then there's a room where you have to be the one that's there to learn, right? And if when you're in the room that you're the smartest person, then you need to be able to recognize that and be able to teach and
be a mentor.
outflow. And that is part of actually what has now made him very wealthy, where now $1 million a month is a very small month, right? So And he doesn't like it. So he's like, if we have $1 million a month, he's like, my business is like, I feel like I failed that month, right? So I was like, fair enough. Okay, so like you were at 30 grand, now you're at $1 million and 30, like, so he set his floor, which actually brings us like, this is something we can focus on, is what is the new floor to the month, because we get to decide that, we get to make it up, right? And then we just get to work towards it and be like, okay, if we have this much money a month, what is a bad month? So how much money is it for you to have a bad month?
Well, I mean, at this point, obviously, like nothing. But even
nothing is a really bad month.
It's a really bad month. But honestly, if I have anything less than $5,000 a month, it's a bad month.
Okay.
My floor, that's a floor, but where I need to be comfortable is 10.
Okay.
5 is a bad month where I might be not making a full, I don't know, heating bill payment.
Right. Okay.
Because I've gotten recognized and hit awards for my first $5,000 month.
Right.
So now if I go backwards.
Okay, so what did you do? What did you do to get that first $5,000 in a month?
Not good for the interview.
What? We can't talk about that here.
You see this table?
It wasn't this table.
It looked like no. No, honestly, that was one sale. That was one client helped, one family helped. But they had a business. So when you help somebody who owns a business, they have more needs. So I'm a financial broker, so I help with a ton of stuff.
Right.
Obviously, I can't be the expert in everything, so I do have referral partners that I'm able to help my clients with. But for this is within my what's that word?
Scope.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And here in my head, I had like a gun and everything. Like
wow,
I'm like,
what
is that word? But this part is within my scope because it's tax sheltering with insurance policies.
Okay.
And that's what I was able to do for this client.
Yeah.
But because he's a business, he has a higher income per month, higher revenue than an individual person would as working as an employee typically.
So you just need to work with more business.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you got really high income in your business,
I can help you tax shelter that, no problem. Tax-free growth on your returns.
Yeah.
Become your own bank. Never have to go to your bank ever again for a loan, unless it's like really, really high. But yeah, so that's what I did to get that first $5,000 month.
Okay.
But I only need to help 2 average families a month to. No, it's 5 families a month to get to $5,000. Because on average, at my compensation level, it's about $1,000 on average for the average family.
Okay.
There are some families that will be significantly less, some families that will be more. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we write that down then? Let's go with new floor, $10,000.
I was about to ask, when am I writing stuff down?
Right now, this is it.
All right.
So what are you looking for? What are you looking forward to when this works?
Raising my own babies, having my babies. Now, obviously, they'll be toddlers. I mean, they're already toddlers, but like slightly older toddlers.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to take me 5 years.
Right.
If I can do this right, I'll be able to keep them home from. I won't even need to send them to school. I'll be able to homeschool them at the same time. They'll know what it's like for mom to have to go into her office and work.
Yeah.
They'll know the rules to coming into the office if they have to.
Scream outside the door for 5 minutes.
Exactly. Maybe bang on the door a little bit.
Especially if she's in a client meeting, that'd be good.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is, I work with clients that know I have kids that are good with this. I haven't had one client, and it's because of who you attract. I haven't had one client who is unhappy with the fact that I have my kids there. When my son was still an infant and he was nursing, unfortunately, it was really poorly timed, or he was teething or something like that. I had to step away to go nurse him, and they're like, honestly, you go for it. They had no problem with it. And I was like, oh, Like, thank you. And it's, there's been not client meetings, sorry. There's been trainings where it's over Zoom, because since, the big pandemic, everything went digital. So
yeah.
you can be over Zoom. You just turn your camera off during these trainings, and I was able to just nurse my son right then and there. It was super, obviously convenient.
Yeah.
But it makes being a nursing mom, a stay-at-home mom, a heck of a lot easier if you want to do this. A heck of a lot easier. You can, you got 5-10 hours a week. You go right in there, and it's going to take more than 5-10 hours to make a full-time income and to get to 10,000 a month if you're doing it by yourself. But that's why I've got my team.
Yeah.
They help me out so much, and I'm able to go back and pour into them as well. It's a team, and we work in cohesion, and it's beautiful. And so what I'm able to do once this works, and I'm saying this way for a reason, once I am able to do present tense, kind of future and present tense at the same time, it's not really coherent. But I was told, for every new person that you meet who wants to get into business, have them do this exercise. Write out, I think it was like 7 to 10 I am or I have statements, present tense statements of what it's going to look like, what you're going to have in a year when whatever you're doing works out.
Right.
I am home with my babies.
Right. This is the part where you write it down.
All right. You got me to write because I'm supposedly better, but
yeah, you are. Like, do you want to see what my rating is like in your book?
No, probably not.
Like, that's your book. You do remember that. We don't want to make my rating in your book. That's not a good idea.
All right, so I am home with my babies.
Yeah.
I have $10K a month. Stability.
Minimum.
Yeah, that's the minimum. That's the stability. The word stability for me, well, for anybody, makes you feel safe.
Right.
I will never have to worry about taking a day off with my kids. I've been, the last 2 weeks I've been down with sickness.
Down with the sickness.
I saw that one.
Yeah, you did. Sorry.
Twice in the last 2 weeks where I needed to take a day, and my kids were sick 2 days before I was for the first time. I didn't have to ask anybody to take a day off. All I had to do with client appointments that day, I just called up my team and I said, hey, my kids are sick. I can't do this appointment. Can you take them? Yeah, not a problem. Called up my client, said, hey, my kids are sick, so and so is going to take very good care of you.
Yeah.
Because I help train these people, and they are motivated as well to do their own training. They don't just rely on my availability and my knowledge. They're motivated and ambitious enough to do their own training. I trust them.
Yeah.
And we work very well together. And they're like, yeah, no problem, Trin. I hope your kids feel better. 2 days later, I'm down as well. And thankfully I had, being a single mom and being not completely, they don't know how to knock on doors, let's put it that way. So they go to daycare during my work day for now, till I get a nanny. Yeah. And so I mustered up the energy, brought them to daycare. I actually did a meeting, and then I went home and I was sick for the rest of the day. But I didn't know I was sick until after the meeting. So
I was gonna say, how's that client feeling?
Actually, she got sick as well, but she got sick like the next day, so she was already coming down with it. Yeah, at least that's what I tell myself. I apologize to her regardless.
Yeah.
But I was able to take those days off, and I have enough team members around me that I was able to find somebody with an opening for that client, so I can be like, hey, I need your help, and they're able to do the same for me.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry about it. I know that my clients are being well taken care of.
So let's capture that. Write it down. I have a team that takes care of my clients, and I can pour into them as well. Because I think that from what you're saying, I think that is the essence of it. Like, it's like, I am able to take care of them. I'm able to pour into them. I'm able to train them, to build them up, to encourage them, and then when I have days that I need them, then they're also able to do the same for me, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's huge.
Yeah. But the thing is, what motivates a lot of people is not, here's the success of my business. It is that I can take a day off whenever I need to.
Right.
I can be with my kids
Well, that's
whenever I
huge
need
for
to.
sure.
If my kids are missing mom because for now they have to be in daycare, other people, this isn't to put down daycares because the institution itself is amazing for moms who can't and dads, if they're single dads.
For sure.
But for parents who can't stay home with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was a stay-at-home mom for 2.5, almost 3 years, I get very angry that somebody else is raising my kids.
Right.
But in this case, I am very grateful that I had that. But because I get very angry that someone else is raising my kids and spending 8 hours a day with them when I get 2, I get to be with my kids.
Yeah.
I raise my kids.
Do you write that down?
I'm home with my babies.
Okay.
That was the first thing.
Perfect. Good.
And, as they get older, they'll start understanding the etiquette of mom's at work. This is how we deal with mom when she's at work. This is what we do while mom is at work.
Yeah.
And, up to a certain age, they're safe to be around clients as we're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Once they're not safe to be around clients and the clients aren't okay with it, especially even prior to that, then obviously the dynamic will change. But as long as privacy is not being violated in any way, we're safe.
Yeah.
We can do that. And they can grow with it.
Totally.
And that's not to say that they'll never go to a daycare or babysitter.
Right.
But not full time and not because I need them to go.
Yeah.
It'll be honestly, their own benefit.
Yeah, like I have a so I have a 5-year-old daughter, right? And the other day was last night. Yeah, it was last night. Then I was like, I gotta go to the studio and work on editing and do some stuff, right? And as I'm leaving, she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then she went to the couch and she just broke down and like started crying, right? And I'm like, like it's just like rips your heart out, and you're like, and I mean, for me, I know the reason I'm doing it, right? Yeah. I know what the future holds as long as I don't stop, because it says that, like in, I think it's Galatians, it talks about, do not, how does he say it? Do not forsake being good, because in due season you will reap your reward, as long as you don't give up.
Yeah.
Which means that people that give up too soon aren't going to reap the reward, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, and I've given up too soon on some things, right? Like
everybody does.
And it's like that because of the fact that I didn't commit to failure, right? And because of the fact that I was always like 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing, right? And so with this, I'm like, okay, I'm committing to failure. I'm going to make sure that I do this until we're either too broke to do it anymore, or I win, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, so when, and my wife has been amazing. She's so supportive, but seeing that, and then like, so I spent some extra time with her and held her for a while, and then like it was probably an extra 15-20 minutes, and then I had to go, and she still wasn't 100%, but I was like, listen, like, this is why I'm doing it. This is the future that I see for us, because I want them to be able, like you were saying, I want them to be able to come in to the business, work in my business with me, learn the skills, and then be able to carry on working, whether they start their own business or whether they work in mine. Preferably they want to work with me, but I mean, it'll be up to them, right?
It might be fun to outcompete each other.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't beat me, but like, my daughter tries, but, so, but like building that relationship, but also building that skill set, because you have compound interest. I heard this concept the other day from a third or fourth generation member of wealth. Like, he came from wealth, and no, I think he was a fourth generation, because normally it's the third. Stereotypical is like the first one builds it, the second one uses it, the third one spends it, right? Yeah. And so when you
to get to that fourth generation,
to get to the fourth is incredible. Yeah. But that's the way God intended it. He intended for us to be perpetually wealthy, like
Yeah.
to the blessings to the 1,000th generation, which is infinite, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we stepped in and ruined it, you know, like,
intending to be incomprehensible in how far the lineage goes, but
yeah, exactly. Then we messed it up. So, but we have to get back on track, and so like you talk about compound interest all the time.
Yep.
But what about compound skill sets?
Well,
What
exactly.
about compound generational knowledge?
Well, exactly.
Right? You know, like his great grandfather was an oil man, and that's how he became wealthy. He turned it into his like he now doesn't. I think he still owns the oil field that made them wealthy, that his great grandfather bought by working all his life and doing it and making it happen. But then, so they own that, but then they also started another business where now they have, I think it was his dad ended up learning about like how to do investments and stocks and that kind of stuff. So they have a business like that.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, his daughter and son have businesses that they've been able to create and develop because of the freedom that the wealth gave them, right?
Well, and each time, like you're saying, on compounding skill sets, they have to learn it slowly the first time.
Yeah.
Teaching your learned knowledge to somebody else, that it takes a fraction of the time that it takes for us to learn something brand new, because we have to dig for it and we don't have that waterfall of knowledge just pouring into us.
Yeah.
We have to build that waterfall. So we build that lake that turns into the waterfall, and then our kids can drink from the waterfall and then go and build their own in a different area or extend on ours. Yeah. That's exactly how it compounds. And they can, oh, I'm being fed by this waterfall that my parents created, all the knowledge that they're giving me on this state. Well, I'm gonna double that by doing this waterfall. Oh, now all of a sudden my kids are doing their own, building off of that, or taking both of ours and doing something different. Totally. And they don't have to go out and get 2 or 3 degrees just to match where we're at.
Right.
They can get half a degree and be where we're
Which,
we're
by
at.
the way, you don't have to get a degree to
you
do
don't
anything.
know, but like the equivalent of like
and
the status quo of.
That being said, you know, like if your parents weren't like that, there's so many free resources on YouTube and everywhere that you can get like that waterfall of knowledge can come in, and you can start growing that just based off of that stuff.
The only people that should be going to college are people who need licenses.
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, even honestly,
bus drivers.
People, you know, truck drivers.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah.
Electricians. Even not even them.
Yeah. Right.
They can learn on the job. But honestly, the only people that need that, in my opinion, are those types of professions.
Right.
Obviously, it's not an exhaustive list, but those types of professions. Everything else, you can basically learn on the go.
Yeah.
And even if you can't find something that's free, there are websites like Udemy and Skillshare.
Oh, totally, yeah.
That have inexpensive courses that can teach you the same thing.
Yeah, start somewhere.
You could even go and like work for someone. I follow this person. She goes, honestly, go for 2 weeks, work for someone else for free, even, or a normal job, but even for free, they're more likely to teach you everything about their business if you just go say like, hey, can I basically be your intern?
Right.
Like, just follow you around and work for free. Teach me everything you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what she preaches. And she's done that so many different times in so many different industries that she's just been like, I'll work for free.
And it works to a certain degree.
To an extent.
You have to.
It's not family, so you don't get the full waterfall. You get some trickles.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You learn different aspects of it. But also you have to go to the right people, because not everybody wants a free offer, right?
Exactly. No, and like we were talking about before, where if something is super expensive, like a college degree, people stay in it for longer.
Right.
Right? They're like, oh, I see on the end of the tunnel, there's this amazing job, and this job is going to let me do so many things. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go get a lawyer's, I don't know, whatever, bachelor's, master's, I don't know what degree they need. I'm going to go become a lawyer. That
one. That's what I know.
Exactly. Suits has taught me a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
They're going to go and spend, 2, 4, 7 years in college, get whatever accreditation that they need.
Totally.
And then they see, oh, this job is gonna, this 6-figure job is gonna bring me all these things that I want. I want to be able to, for a man it might be, I want to be able to stay have a wife that stays home and takes care of our kids. I want the fancy cars. I want this because it's gonna give me fill in the blank.
Right.
But spending $150, they don't see it. They don't have the same vision where
right.
You know, it's like you don't have to go spend $350,000 on this fancy title.
Right.
To get the same thing.
I think you can go to a notary and spend like $300 to get a title if you want a title. Like
you could buy a plot of land. What is it? Yeah, Ireland,
Scotland, yeah.
And you could be a lord or a lady.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could be lord.
Like what is it? Like
lord
one little meter or something.
I think
like
it's 1 meter by 1 meter square. Yeah, you can buy it for like a buck or something like that. It's ridiculous. But
yeah, and you can become if you want a title, you can.
Yeah, you can be Lord of Scotland.
But you know, and that's where it's very difficult. So for me, my dreams, what I see at the end of this is, yes, I am home with my babies. I am making now 10,000 is just my floor for right now.
Right.
For now.
Yeah, for sure.
Eventually, my floor, as soon as I start hitting that and I feel safe
then
with
it's only like 100 grand.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my next goal.
Yeah.
You know.
10x it.
Exactly. But what else is there? What's that money going to do for us? Well, I'm going to have a nanny so that if I still haven't found my other half, I have another person who's helping me give my kids the best life possible so that they're not super bored when I am in meetings.
Right.
But they can also come to my events with me. I go to 2 events minimum per year, Banff, and usually it's in Vegas. They can come with me, and that nanny can be with them while I'm in my awesome conferences because they're not going to understand the financial side of stuff just yet.
Or maybe they will.
You know, 8-year-old understanding everything will be perfect.
Yeah, it'll be like Sheldon Cooper moment there.
Right? Oh, I should do
that. Just get them reading now, and you're good to go.
There's a program I've been eyeing up that teaches 2- and 3-year-olds how to read.
Well, there you go.
Not a joke. I've been eyeing it up. It's on my wish list. It's on my dream list.
Yeah.
But you know, like another part of it is I want to be able to sponsor. For now, the dream is one veterinary clinic that any life-saving surgeries are funded by me. No questions asked. If a family cannot afford it and the only other option is to put their animal down, I pay for it. No questions asked. Vet. I just need the vet's word.
Write it down.
Fund vet surgeries. The other thing is all spay and neuters with this place.
Okay.
I don't want there to ever be an issue with that and have, you know, strays are an issue.
Right.
Right. So those are little things that they can just do all the time.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But the other thing is I want the kids to be able to go, the kids are going to be able to go into whatever extracurricular they want. I know what you're going to say.
Write it down. Just because you know doesn't mean I'm not going to say it. Yeah, totally. That's huge. Like being able to give your kids the life that will help them grow into the person that can be leaps and bounds ahead of where you were when they were there, when you were their age. Right?
On that, the kids are homeschooled.
Right.
Right. The school system, it's down.
Okay.
You got it.
You wrote it in before. Yeah.
I wrote it before I said it.
Okay, well I missed it. Write it down.
You just wanted to say it.
I did, yeah. Kind of like a dictator, actually. So.
I noticed. No. But you know, like while the school system has its place, I want to be able to give them the education that I feel is important to their life.
Yeah, I feel like the school system's place is in the garbage can, but like
I didn't say where the place was.
We did not. Yeah,
I just said it had its place. You know,
professional opinion.
Exactly. But you know, like for example, I mean, you want to get down to your grassroots and you know the cooking and the domestic work. You want to be able to teach them that too. But they also don't need to be in a classroom for 8 hours a day.
No, man. Like
we're home. I think it's like 2 hours, max.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
To learn K to 12. Like that's insane. That's what we were hearing. That's what we were looking at because we're homeschooling our kids too. And it was like, I think the hours per day to learn everything they teach. Now you may not go in depth in like some of the subjects, right?
No.
But like a lot of the the basics that you need to graduate.
The math
think,
and understanding
yeah,
the
like,
basics of science.
I think it was 2 hours a day
Mhm.
for 4 years, and
Mhm.
you could wipe it up. Now,
Yeah.
don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate, but I
But
think
it's
it
still
was like
it's
ridiculous. It
still
was only 4 years. I know that's right.
exponentially less than what we actually have.
Right.
Like they could be a functioning human of society in their teens. And I don't mean 15 because you skipped school and you need to help mom and dad pay for the
Right.
bills. I mean, you could be starting your own business at 15 simply because you could have your own business at 15 already
Well,
because your
I'm
parents
hearing
have
now,
already
like,
started helping you.
a lot of people are, or a lot of kids in certain groups that I'm a part of now, they're actually like, by the time they hit 11-year-old, 11 years old, and they're like, yeah, I've already got $1 million company, or I've already got this
I
going. I'm
know.
like, dude, that's sweet. Like, first off, how do you know something I don't?
Right. Right.
What do I need to know to do what you're doing? Like,
You've got 11 years on this earth, and I've
Yeah,
got
right?
almost 3 times that.
yeah.
There's something
What
that's not.
how did your parents raise you? Can I be their son?
I will move in.
Yeah.
I will do my chores.
For
If
11
you
years.
teach me. Just teach me. It won't
Yeah,
take me
it
11 years
won't
to
take
learn
me
that.
11 years. No.
But absolutely, I actually know somebody who they have a 12-year-old, and he's already going out and trying to figure out a way to make money in the winter, and he's upset because it didn't snow because he was going to have a
Right.
subscription for the people around his
Continuity right there,
neighborhood.
boom.
Pardon?
Continuity
Absolutely.
program. Yeah.
And once he could buy it, the reason he was upset that it didn't snow a lot this year is because he understood if it snows a lot this year, he can get the subscription at a higher price.
Right.
It might take more physical work this year, but next year, if it doesn't snow as much, that subscription is still the same and he's working less.
Right.
He was upset that it wasn't
Smart.
working very much this year. That it was snowing very much this year.
Well, you just don't get as
And
many.
he was 12.
Yeah. Perfect. Love it. It's awesome.
And it was like, I'm talking to my friend. I'm like, what are you teaching that I need to teach to my kids? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they're behind. They're only 2, but I feel like they're behind.
Yeah.
Well, 1 will almost be 3. I need to catch up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's teaching them, like, okay, here's.
It's not asking what do you want to be when you grow up.
It's like, here, what
how
are
do
your
you want
reasons?
to help people?
What are your reasons for doing it, right?
Yeah.
What are your reasons? What drives you? And then you shape that and you teach them in a way that will align with what drives them, right? And it's going to be like, so like, for example, biblically speaking, like a Jewish boy is bar mitzvahed at 12 years old. Same with the Jewish girl, whatever it was, beit mitzvah, I think it is. And she's so.
Quinceañera. Or no, that's Spanish. That's Spanish.
And that's
16.
also 15.
Is it 16 or 15? I don't know. Anyways, understood.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
Okay.
But anyways,
maybe I'm just confusing the sweet 16.
Yeah, I don't know. That's English. Yeah.
That's America.
That's America. Anyway, so we got like, but in that Jewish culture, at 12 years old, they're considered a man.
Yeah.
Or a woman. So at that point, they get to make decisions based on their level of operation in the business, whatever it is, right?
Well, not even just that culture. Our culture recognizes a 12-year-old's autonomy as well, because in the court system, if this is, for example, because obviously this is what I'm dealing with now, in the court system, if a 12-year-old does not want to be exchanged to their other parent, they don't have to.
Interesting.
They don't have to.
I thought it was 16, but so it's 12.
Because here's the thing. Like, logically speaking, not like morally and whatever. Logically speaking, if you've got a 12-year-old the size your brother was when he was 12, are you going to be able to force him to go?
Oh, I could force him. I would have thrown him over my shoulder like a backpack.
But like, how difficult would that have been?
Yeah.
Right? So physically, it becomes a battle and people can get hurt, and then now you've got potential assault and all the stuff. In addition,
and assault on a minor.
Exactly. In addition, a 12-year-old can be convicted of a crime.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I guess because juvie starts at 12. Interesting.
Even our culture recognizes a 12-year-old as somebody who can make bigger decisions.
Right.
Not adult decisions like at 18, but bigger decisions. So it meshes with the Jewish culture of being, you are a man, you are a woman at 12 years old. Multiple cultures are recognizing this.
Right.
So who's to say they can't have a great business at that age?
Oh, for sure. And
Absolutely.
it doesn't mean
they
that they're
start
not.
understanding the hard work. They're still kids.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're not under like the authority of a parent or
Absolutely.
whatever, right? Or the guidance of their mentor, right? Like whoever
Absolutely.
their mentor was. They still remain under that guidance, or they find a new mentor or
Yeah.
whatever. But they're still going to be like, if they want to
They
have a
still are
successful
not an
business,
adult, but
yeah, if they want to have a successful business, then they still have to adhere to like the laws of growth, essentially. Which one of them is have a mentor that will pour into you,
Yeah.
that you can learn from, that you can be like, oh, okay, so that's something I didn't know that now I know.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference in the world for
Yeah.
for being able to grow, right?
Well, and the thing is, you're never gonna stop learning, right? I mean, if you
Yeah.
stop learning, what's the saying? If you're not growing, and that's including your knowledge base, you're dying.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of people die while they're still living, you know, like they don't have any
Well,
desire to grow anymore.
When people retire, if they stop moving, if people don't have something to continue living for, whether that's working in your community, if you've got a passion after your regular retirement, whatever it is, you die. I can't remember how much earlier, but significantly earlier than if somebody were to retire and be an active member of their community, have passions and hobbies,
Yeah.
and keep on going. They last much longer than somebody who's like retired and they just sit on the couch for the rest of their lives.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and I actually have a story about that. So there was this guy, he was a parts guy um, in a business I worked at, and he was like so excited because he's like, yeah, I get to retire. Like, I think it was in a week or something like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. What are you gonna do when you retire?
Yeah.
He's like, nothing. I was like, nothing.
I
Like,
mean, maybe for short term.
yeah, maybe for short term, but like, are you serious? You're gonna do nothing? And he did nothing at work either. So I mean, it makes sense. But you know, like, so I was like, I was like, yeah, I was like, why don't you just keep getting paid for it? Like,
right?
But you know, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do nothing. So I was like, why would you want to do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because, but I have a different mindset than a lot of people too. But like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like, why would you want to stop doing anything? And so I pushed him a little further. I was like, so like, what do you mean? What does nothing look like to you? He's like, well, I mean, I'll go fishing and sit on my porch and drink coffee and not get up until I want to and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, not getting up till you want to, that's cool.
Going fishing whenever you want to, that's also
cool.
cool.
But you can only go fishing so many times before you're like, wow, I don't really feel like getting wet today, you know?
Like, you know what? That walleye, as delicious as it is, I kind of want something else.
Yeah, right. So I mean, like, it was just one of those things.
Ends.
It was just one of those things where I was like, wow, you have no drive, you have no desire to do anything. Like, you're just gonna sit on your porch and drink coffee all day. Like, what is that? And so yeah, it was just kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So one more thing that I want to address before we end this far over 20-minute brainstorm.
I was gonna say, I've been looking at
I stopped it a long time ago.
Yeah.
We were flowing. Like, so anyways,
like, that time is not moving.
Why is it back in 20 minutes?
Like, if this is the under 20 minutes, we've been doing awesome.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. It's probably close to like an hour or 40 minutes, but you know,
that's fair.
That's fine. But what is your mission?
My mission is honestly to help. Now, obviously, you have to put a number to it so that you can recognize when you've hit it.
Right.
But my mission is to help 10,000 women become involved in their household's finances. Now, whether that's earning an additional income or knowing enough about finances to make not proper decisions, but proper suggestions. What if they are the decision maker financially, or if their husband is, or if it's a combined effort. I want them to have that education so that they can make a fair, not even a fair, like a good contribution, whatever that looks like to them, to their family's household and to their family's finances. Whether, yeah, like I said, that's having a little bit more education so they understand more the consequences of certain decisions, or whether that's honestly, this is the path that I took, obviously, bringing in an extra $500 to $1,000 a month to help your family to pay off debt. That'll be freaking amazing, right? To go from having a mortgage to not, having possibly credit card debt to not, to pay off debt or whatever it may be. My mission is to help 10,000 women contribute to their households financially in whatever way that works best for them, whatever way that they desire.
So that's very long-winded. So I'm going to see if I can summarize it. Are you ready?
The last sentence was pretty summarized.
That was decently summarized. I think I can make it better. Do you think I can make it better?
We'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna try. Nothing I do can be made better.
All right. So if you want to work with Trinity, just know that that's who you deal with.
I'm the ceiling.
Yeah, I am the ceiling. You cannot go above me. Oh wow.
My drive is that nobody that works with me does get above me. However,
but that's not because they can't.
That's not because we can't. It's because it just shows me where I can go.
Right.
It makes my family better.
Right.
Because if I start here and my clients are here and they get up to here, I'm like, oh, one, how can I help my clients if I'm at their same level?
Right.
My clients or my team members, if I'm at their same level.
Yeah.
So I have to go higher, which is going to just be better for my family.
Totally.
And then they're going to get up higher than me. So if they go higher than me, I'm not happy with that because that means my personal growth, my professional growth is lacking.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I want them to get higher than me, but I don't.
Yeah. I heard this one guy, he was a traveling evangelist. He's like, and then he started doing, he became a senior pastor, I think it was, at a church. And so he was delivering the message every Sunday. Mm-hmm. And he's like, man, how do I deliver a message every Sunday? Because before he was a traveling evangelist, he could repeat the same message in different churches for a couple months and then switch it up, right? And so he comes back and he's like, how do I stay ahead of this? And one of his mentors or one of his friends anyways, like, you just got to be one Sunday ahead. You know, as long as you're one Sunday ahead, then you're good to go. And he's like, oh, one message ahead, one Sunday ahead. Okay, I can do that, right? And it's the same here, you know, like I think if you hit that, I just got to be one step ahead. And if you're always like focused on the one step that you're missing, so you become a master at this level. And when you master that level and you know all of it, then now you can move up to the next level and you can master that level, right? Exactly. And so as long as you're one level up, then and you become a master of all these things, well, that's mastery, skill stacking, right? Yeah. Now you can serve your clients in the best way.
And the thing is, the clients and the team members are going to teach me too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
right.
Sure.
So it's not even just on me. It's awesome teamwork.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like being able to recognize that you're not smart enough to know it all. You know.
Right.
Like there's still things outside of your scope of knowledge that you can still learn, and being humble enough to let people that you don't think have it all together teach you stuff that you don't know, right?
Well, because they can teach me just off the top of my head, not knowing like the person, but if somebody who doesn't have it all together can teach me anything, it's how to cope with chaos.
Right.
Right, because your life is going to go up and down all the time. You're going to go into chaos. So I could tell somebody who's got it all together, this is how I'm coping with chaos. This is how I'm prioritizing. This is what I'm doing, that they may not have thought about.
Right.
And that'll help them grow. Obviously, they'll have a lot more business stuff to teach me than I'll have to teach them. But I'll have more current knowledge on how to deal with chaos that they may not know. They might know it because maybe they already went through chaos.
Totally.
But they're also a different person, so they don't handle chaos the same way. Yeah. So now I've just given them another way to handle it, and they can try.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's just a matter of looking at them and being like, "Wow, you've just taught me what not to do." Right?
Exactly.
Like, that's great too.
It's
right?
Still learning.
Yeah, it's still learning. So, but to circle back to your mission, I would say it like this, and see if you think it's good or not. But I would say it that my mission is to help 10,000 women win in finance.
I do like that.
Well, really? But not.
It's a little vague.
Perfect. You can clarify. You can clarify when you meet with them.
That's fair.
What does it mean to win in finance? Well, what does it mean to you to win in finance?
That's fair.
Let's make this personal.
It's different to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. It really is. Because obviously, I mean, my win looks different than your win.
Right.
Right? Like we were going back to before, like our first place is different.
Yeah.
But they're still first place.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want for our family.
Yeah, and that's what we want for your family as well. By the way,
yes.
because like if
the only way for us to win in our families is to help other people win for their families.
Honestly, that's so true.
That's it.
Yeah. Zig Ziglar used to always say this. He used to say,
I love him.
Yeah, he's great. But he was always saying, if you help, he's like, I figured out that if I help enough other people win and get what they want. Actually, yeah, I think it was, if I help enough other people get what they want, then I will get what I want. And I was like, I always looked at that, and my mindset was so messed up in this area because I looked at it, I was like, man, so he's just helping people, like he's just giving away stuff and helping them, and then like it wasn't until this is how dense I was, right? Okay, so it wasn't until
I mean, you don't have to tell me. But
it wasn't until like probably 2 years ago, and I was like, he wasn't helping them for free. You know, like no kidding.
I mean,
he was actually charging them for his service. I was like, this is
but
crazy.
he was willing to work with them, so that's
totally
helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I help clients for free. But I mean, I still get paid on the back end for the companies.
Yeah, like I mean, it's free to work with you, but it's not. You're still getting paid. Like you're not doing the work for free.
It's not the clients that are paying me though.
Yeah.
So the clients get it for free. I'm able to help them, but I am getting paid for my services.
Right.
Just not from the clients.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because then I can help more people.
Yeah.
Especially with finance. Everybody has, in my opinion, a right to financial education, financial literacy. So not having to then go to them and be like, yeah, so this was a $340 session.
Yeah.
How would you like to pay, cash or credit?
Yeah.
It's just freeing.
I'm gonna be real. I charge up front, but that's
if I was story. To do that, yes.
That's a different story. I'm also not a financial broker, so
I was gonna say you're not in the same industry.
I'm not at all. So no, that's very true. So like for you to be able to just offer that service and be able to just be like, yeah, so just come sit down with me. We'll look at it. We'll go over some stuff, and I'll help you as much as I can.
And you're not the ones that have to worry about paying.
Yeah, and it's no obligation neither, right? Like I mean, it's like, hey, if we have this meeting, if we sit down and have this meeting together, then you get to decide at the end of it if like if you like me, then you better darn well work with me. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem. But like, if you don't like me, then by all means, go find someone else to like. You know,
absolutely.
Like that's okay.
Well, I literally, I was talking to somebody on Facebook, and she reached out to me because I was active in this group that we're both a part of.
Okay.
And she reached out to me and she had some questions, and she going through a very difficult time.
Yep.
And that I can relate to.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, she asked me, she goes, how much is it to like sit down with you just for a review?
Right.
And I was like, completely free.
Yeah.
Come on in, let's see what you got, and let's see if I can help you out. Worst case scenario, you walk away knowing everything I've already told you.
Right.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But of course she came in and I was able to, once we talked, we figured out what she's already got going on. We went away for a few days. I did my own homework. I did my research to figure out what would be the best plan for her. And here's a backup in case she doesn't love this one. She went with the first plan that I went with. She was like, yep, I want more of this.
Yeah.
Perfect. This plan could absolutely help her. And she doesn't have to pay for it.
Right.
She came in going, how much is it to work with you? Nothing.
Yeah.
But you're under no obligation to take either plan.
Right.
You could also tell me, you know what, I don't like either of these. Do you have a third option? To be like, okay, well, I worked for the few days on these two. These are, I believe, your best options, but let's talk a little more, and I could go to my third, and otherwise, I mean, maybe we're not the best fit.
Yeah.
And there's still no charge.
Yeah.
But at least they now know, she now has these options. She's aware of these options no matter what. She may not like them, but she's aware of the pros and cons of each of these options. And that's worst case scenario, she walks away with them.
Right.
More info.
Totally. And I mean, now you're going to have 3 options because people are going to expect that because they're like, oh, there's an option to have 3?
That was just like in
that
conversation.
Was an example?
I give 2 options. 2.
2 options.
But like,
take it or leave it.
On super exception.
Yeah.
then maybe I'll look into other one if the circumstances like allow for a third option.
Right.
Usually, a third option is a moot. Like there's no point.
Right.
Because it doesn't hit the points that you're like, no, these are my must-haves. Like if we're gonna go to HGTV, oh, must-have to move, like love it or list it, must-have to move, must-have to stay, right. Wish list. The second option doesn't even hit all of your must-haves. The third option won't at all. Yeah. It won't even be close. You'll be looking for a 4-bedroom. I'll give you a bachelor on the third option because this is the next best thing if you don't like the first two. Like, right. Usually.
Okay, let's be real though. Real estate is a little bit of a different animal because you can. I mean, like 4 bedrooms, if that's one of your must-haves. Your third one doesn't have to be a bachelor. There's probably another 4
okay,
bedroom
that might have been like really extreme. But the third option maybe was on a really busy highway.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sucks.
And you were like, no, I have kids. Exactly. Yeah,
that was where I went.
Exactly.
How are they going to play hockey?
Right? It needs to be on a back road.
Dead end street.
Exactly, just like you have.
Yeah.
And everybody knows all the kids, and all I need to do is, which adult is out? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go play on the street.
We're all listening for the screams, and if there are any, then great.
Exactly.
We'll go take care of it. Yeah.
You even look out if it's not your child's scream.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, does that parent hear their child? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, for sure. So what do you got on your list? You got have my kids at home. Read it out for me.
I'm home with my babies.
All right.
I have $10,000 months as stability. So consistent minimum floor. I have a team that cares for my clients and I pour into them myself. I fund vet surgeries. I fund vet spay and neuters. And I specify vets because we're not dealing with humans ever. I don't do that. Kids are in any extracurricular they need, and kids are homeschooled. And that homeschooled is going to instill the hardworking values. Because when you have money, you want to be careful that they're not spoiled and entitled. So that homeschooling, teaching them to work hard yourself because you get to show them outside of your schoolwork and what our government thinks is appropriate. Outside of those, like the other 6 hours of a typical school day, you get to teach them whatever you want: how to maintain a home, how to start a business, how to, I don't know, if you're into herbology, you get to teach them whatever you choose. Right. So that's where the hard work comes in and learning all that. So that in exchange, they get to be in any extracurricular they need because they're learning the life lessons they need to in the homeschool.
Totally.
Right. That's what I've got.
And
actually, it's really, really convenient.
Oh, you didn't write it down.
Which part?
I help 10,000 women.
I was just about to say, it's really convenient that my new floor is 10,000.
That's interesting.
When I'm helping 10,000 women.
That's only $1 per woman.
That's for now. I don't help 10,000 people per month.
Well, yet.
I'm talking about within the next year. Within the next year. Okay. I help 10,000 women. This is not nice at all.
Should I write it?
Probably. I help 10,000 women win in finance. With a fancy F capital.
Wow.
Finance.
It's amazing.
I know.
Awesome. So where can these women that you're going to help win in finance find you?
So if you want to get a review, to book in with me, even just to have a chat, see if it's something we can talk about, you go to www, which I don't even need to say. You go to, you want to sit down with me and have just a quick glance at your finances to see what you've got going on, or to see if you want to actually work with me and be bringing in maybe $500 or $1,000 a month. Go to reachforsomethingmore.com/book-a-first-glance. Otherwise, on social media, it's not consistent. On social
we got some work to do.
I have some work to do, yep. You can find me by searching for Trinity Worm CEO or Reach for Something More.
Or you can go to reachforsomethingmore.com.
And it'll link you straight to my social medias.
Yeah. Or you can click the link below this video. That too.
We'll make it more
There's
consistent.
options. There's options.
We'll make it more consistent.
We'll put a link there. We'll make it easy for you. Don't type anything in. Just click the link.
Click the link below.
Click it.
And find a time that works for you to get together.
Perfect. All right. Okay, we're gonna stop that before we say something stupid.
Stupider.